Thank you for joining us for Prep Extra Live. I'm Aram Talegian, joined here by Fred J. Robledo, and in a moment, Steve Ramirez. We're waiting for Stevie to get back from his game, which was La Mirada's resounding win tonight, Freddie, over Norwalk to start Suburban League play.
And where's Stevie coming from?
He's coming from La Mirada.
You know how bad that drive is from La Mirada to Monrovia? There's absolutely no easy way to get here. They could be stuck on the freeway. He may not get here till midnight.
605.
Yeah.
Once you reach it.
Yeah, you drive the 605 on a Friday night sometimes.
Yeah, I tell you what, coming here on the 210 from
that looked pretty bad.
From Glendora, there was really bad traffic.
I saw a lot of traffic. Yeah, I was coming here from the Charter Oak game.
I wasn't too happy.
Okay, there's your traffic report. The 210 freeway going west right now isn't good.
No, going east was bad.
East, you're right. Going east
was
good.
No good.
Yeah.
No, west. What are we saying? West.
So Aaron, stop screwing with me. I thought I had it right the first place.
It was west. Come to the office anyways.
Jesus.
We hope to get some other things right tonight, and that would be specifically some high school football for you guys. Week 4 is in the books. A lot of leagues started league play tonight, and of course, a lot of teams were finishing up non-league, Freddie, and that's probably what we should get to now. One of the big games of the night, the one that you were at. The Central Division throws another curveball tonight.
Wow.
The Central Division actually, Freddie, it threw a couple curveballs tonight, but the one that you were at was definitely one of them. And why is that? Because Charter Oak beats Glendora 28-7, and I was following your score updates, and it wasn't.
Couldn't believe it, huh?
Well, it was a long time before it seemed like Glendora got anything going, and even that was an 80-yard touchdown by Matt Fink.
And they're really lucky. In the fourth quarter, they were inside the 10. I'm talking Charter Oak, about to make it 35-0. That could have been a running clock. I mean, they could have put a running clock on the number 1 team in the Central, which would have been mind-boggling. But as it was,
35-0.
Yeah, as it was, they won 28-7. Matt Fink didn't get anything until in the final 5 minutes. He had an 80-yard touchdown run. I mean, Charter Oak's defense was phenomenal tonight. I mean, they didn't let him do anything. All of his throws, he was kind of just chucking it downfield. He couldn't really get out of the pocket when he wanted to run. They didn't have any other kind of a running game. I was shocked. I was shocked how easy it was.
Was it their speed?
I've never seen Superboy look superhuman like this.
Yeah, right.
I was talking to Don Ferrari. That's what he said. He said we're too athletic for him. We're too quick for him, and it was obvious. And Cam Brown, he was sensational. 3 touchdown passes. He ran in another score. And look, they were able to do whatever they wanted with Glendora, and I didn't expect that, Aram. I didn't expect that at all. And I brought it up again because I was telling Don Ferrar. I said, Aram said, you guys play La Mirada again, it's going to be the same thing. I just don't get that. You guys look so great tonight. And he said, there was a hangover effect. He thought that trip to Nevada and coming back and the way they played, that that wasn't their best effort against them. Charter Oak's a good team. They're the team to beat now in the Central Division, and
it wasn't.
And Glendora, that's just a huge disappointment that they would lay an egg like that. Their line did nothing for Fink. It was unbelievable. I mean, he really. I wasn't expecting that at all. I thought physically they would be able to impose their will on them. It was completely the opposite. Completely the opposite.
Yeah, that's what I thought too, Freddie, was that at the very least, that Charter Oak could at least, Charter Oak, La Mirada, Glendora could at least impose its will and grind on Charter Oak a little bit. And that didn't happen.
And Aaron, they weren't even putting drives together. That whole first half, I think maybe they got 1 first down.
I'm shocked.
I mean, a lot of 3 and outs getting pushed back, it was. I just couldn't believe what I saw.
That's not what's supposed to happen when you have a USC quarterback.
No.
In this division, when you have a USC quarterback, you can lose games, needless to say, but you shouldn't not be able to move the ball at all. And that's kind of scary. My question to you is, did Montano, number 1, the running back for Glendora, did he play tonight?
Yes.
Because I didn't see him really last week very much against LaSalta.
Yeah, and they didn't run the ball. I mean, they were trying to run the ball, but they couldn't get any running game going. And the problem with Glendora, here I've got Steve Ramirez, I think, showing up right here. Here comes Stevie. What are you wearing, Steve?
Oh, my God.
Good Lord. Steve is, I think he just won the Masters golf tournament or at St. Patrick's Day. It's one of the two. But you'll get to see this right now. Easter is not here, folks. This is September. But Steve Ramirez has just arrived. Jesus, you'd think that you were at the Monrovia Los Altos game and you were coaching or something.
No.
But great outfit there, Steve. Great outfit.
This is what I wear sometimes on Sundays during ordinary time.
Okay. Very good. Straight face. Straight face. Go on. The show must go on. We're just having fun, Steve.
That's all right.
Oh, Steve.
Where were we?
Just wasn't expecting such spearmint, you know?
That's another good word.
Spearmint's a good color.
All right. But, here's okay, getting back to Charter Oak Glendora, Aram, I figured it out. Maybe it was so one-sided. Maybe they were so dominating tonight. Bud Reich.
Yes. Let's talk about that.
The coach who passed away. It was an emotional night there tonight. They kept talking. There were tributes throughout the night. The entire coaching staff was wearing black today in honor of him. And I think that that emotion that was with the players.
That was my question to you. Do you think the players fed off of that emotion of winning one for Coach Reich?
I do, and you can see that maybe defensively where. Maybe they were challenged and they really got after him and played it with a little bit more something that they haven't had before. I mean, maybe that's one way to explain it. He was certainly, you had that feeling that he was with Charter Oak tonight and with that crowd. I mean, there was a buzz talking about him, and it was pretty obvious this night was about that coach, and they were playing for him tonight.
And we should mention
that's a resounding way to play for him, and show your tribute.
Tomorrow is Coach Bud Reich's funeral, and that's in Rancho Cucamonga at CCV, and that's at 10 a.m., I believe, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And that was the thing, Freddie. His family from out of town was in town tonight, and they all went to the football game because, they said that that's how Coach Reich would have wanted it. That's where he would have wanted to have been, and that's where they were tonight, and I'm sure that was a big part of it. Did you see a lot of emotion from the coaches? Lou Farrar, did he talk to you after the game?
Well, I didn't talk to, we could probably ask Tom Kiss because Tom stayed there and he did some interviews. He's going to have
I'd expect you'll hear something.
Yeah, he had a whole highlight show and he'll get on that. But it was an emotional night. You could tell he was definitely, he was there tonight with a lot of those players.
And
that may have fed into what you saw tonight a little bit. Sometimes that does. And
he was also on the mind of somebody tonight at the Bonita San Dimas game that I covered, the Smudge Pot. 28-7 Bonita wins, third straight year they win it. Gary Prestisator there. Gary Prestisator and Bud Reich were the same age. They played together. Bud Reich was from Duarte. And, they played together, came up coaching together, coached against each other. And, Coach Prestisator, was obviously... saddened by the news. He knew it before tonight, and he'll be going to the funeral tomorrow. There was also some mention of Coach Reich tonight at the Smudge Pot. So he's gone, but certainly not forgotten.
Do you remember him, Steve? Coach Reich? Did you have some?
Not as the head coach. When Coach Thatcher was there, he was his top assistant. So we talked
boys basketball coach.
When you went to a tournament game or just a league game. He was always there, that someone you could talk to, and he wanted to know what some of the other teams in the area were doing. So he was a coach, but like all those coaches, they're basketball fans too, and he was one of those guys.
And you saw the Wards there tonight, and typically when there's a Bishop Vermont home game and a Charter Oak home game, you don't see the Wards all the time. They're over there. They were at Charter Oak tonight.
You do these days.
No, they
I don't think you see them at many Almont games anymore.
He's been going.
To Almont games?
Yeah, he's been going. Coach Ward.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, well, hey, fair enough.
I'm not saying they're shaking hands with everybody, but
everybody, yeah. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, so anyway, that was the game Freddie was at. 28-7 Charter Oak wins. 3-1, three. Would they be 4-1?
4-1.
Okay, so they're 4-1 now. Glendora is 3-1. And now you got to start wondering: is Charter Oak your number? You said they are number one team in the Central Division.
Yes, yeah.
If you do this, Glendora, you have to be the team to beat now in the division.
Yeah.
I expect that to maybe change later down the road. Maybe it won't. I think this division's wide open, Fred. I still think it is. I mean, I think there's 4 or 5 teams that you could feel good about.
Well, you're probably right. It's hard. You look at a night like tonight, and you've got to say Charter Oak's the front runner. I think Charter Oak was number 2 or 3 going into the game anyway.
Like
I mean, these teams they're all at the top right now. They can meet again. Who knows? Maybe. Right. Glendora can't be as bad as I saw on the night. I mean, you watched them against Los Altos last week. They can't be this bad unless Charter Oak is this good. And I don't know. Maybe it was a game that got away from it. Maybe things just didn't work out, but it didn't look like they could do anything tonight.
Yes, and again, this was a game that Charter Oak really wanted. I mean, not just because of Coach Wright, but because the last 2 times they played Matt Fink was able to get Glendora out of there with wins in games that Charter Oak thought it was going to win.
It's probably a reason you and I kind of picked them on the drills this week. I mean, for me, it was just a hunch.
We did, actually, yeah.
But I didn't think it was going to be anything like this. I mean, I really didn't.
Right. Okay, now let's move on here. There was another curveball in the Central Division. That's what I wanted to talk about now. Monrovia goes to Los Altos and wins 22-14 tonight. This Monrovia team, Freddie, they've had their ups and they've had their downs this non-league season.
I'll tell you what.
But they're part of the Central Division.
Yeah.
You know, so's San Marino, so's Los Altos, so's Charter Oak. This win.
So's Colony.
So's Colony, yeah.
And then they'll have to be dealt. They'll have to be dealt with sometimes. Yeah, West Covina. You're right, Aaron. It's an absolute great division, and these are some teams that there's not a super team out of there. I mean, a lot of these good things. I really think the top 10. You could probably say 7 or 8 of those teams might be able to beat each other on any given Friday. And Monrovia.
How
long have we always wanted to see like a Monrovia Charter Oak game in a playoff? I mean, you may get that this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, this game stunned me because Monrovia wasn't stopping anybody defensively, and now they hold Los Altos to 14 points. Stevie, you know, this Monrovia team, you've seen them, I've seen them.
Yeah.
Maybe Los Altos, you know, bounced off of the big game last week against Glendora. I don't know. I mean, I'm blown away by this result. Yeah. Maybe you're not because you're wearing the green here.
No, I mean,
maybe that's why they won.
Yeah, that's a good luck charm.
He wasn't there, folks. But
the thing about Coach Stevens is, I think he's one of those guys where he's able to his teams kind of improve throughout the year.
Right.
And that first game I saw them, they didn't have like that hammer guy that they've had in the past,
right,
to sustain the running game that allows Zamora to do what he does best.
Right.
And that's the thing I walked away from. But I'm sure they've been working on that.
And, working on something.
Yeah, and the you know, they are the type of team I think that gets better as the season goes. And that's kind of what we saw. I'm surprised by the score because of what Los Altos had done, but and then another
this is the
way,
Central Division, man. There's I'm going to say this now to you both. There's no such thing as surprises the rest of the way in the Central Division. And another team we forgot to mention, by the way, as a contender, another team that wears green, Bonita, the team that I saw tonight.
Right.
They're 4-0 now, Freddie, and you better watch out for them. You know. This game against San Dimas tonight was close.
7-7 at the half.
San Dimas led 7-0 late into the first half. Then they had a bad snap on a punt deep in their own territory. Bonita recovered, scored, tied it at 7. They come out in the third quarter, still 7-7. Bonita blocks a punt, later scores, makes it 14-7. And now you have San Dimas, their offense under the gun a little bit, maybe trying to pass a little bit, and that didn't work. They had 3 straight 3-and-outs. Bonita, in the meantime, puts up 2 more touchdowns at 28-7. This Bonita team, you know, I've seen the Charter Oaks, Glendora's, Los Altos', Monrovia.
Do they fit?
They fit, but they'd be underdogs. But those teams will need to show up to beat them.
I thought that 7-7 halftime score was perfect for San Dimas, and we talked about it. They didn't want to get behind early and play catch-up. But then it looked like, did they score 2 quick touchdowns? It looked like it was 21-7 like that.
It was in the second half, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, it was late third and then again early fourth, and then
West Covina 47-21 over Santa Fe.
Yeah, good for them.
Kind of expected, but you're right. Yeah. I'll tell you one team that's not going to win the Central, and that's going to be South Hills. South Hills beaten 41-7 by Damien. This offense.
They can't
this
score.
Offense has 7 points.
Yeah. I mean,
they're averaging. They're scoring 5.5 points a game going into tonight.
I saw them last week against Lucerna. It looks like they have a couple good options.
Yeah.
But that night against Lucerna, they didn't stick and try to ride anyone.
Yeah. Now remember, their coaches that knew, that saw the future. The South Hills coaches last year that saw the future and knew after the non-league schedule of not winning a game. They knew they were going to sweep the league right after that. They're in the same spot, Freddie. So why are you doubting them? I mean,
come on, Aaron.
because last year they went at this point last year, same spot, and then they swept the league. And their coaches knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. I'll tell you, another team in the Central we're not talking about that could possibly win it all too, Aaron. Diamond Ranch beating El Rancho 47-14 last night.
Yeah.
That defense seems like it's legit every week. They're holding someone to 14 or 7 or 0.
Yeah.
And El Rancho, I mean, they're a decent team, but they just handle them.
It's hard to get a read on El Rancho. They've played a tough schedule in their kind of neighborhood.
Right.
Here's the one thing that's...
And they're 0-4
But here's the one thing I can't get out of my head when I think of Diamond Ranch, and as good as they've been, they lost to South Hills 7-0. How did they lose?
But they haven't lost since, and they haven't really. They have not really allowed
those games. Yeah.
I mean, Freddie, I think they've allowed 27 points in 4 games since then.
Yeah.
So their defense is really working it.
I mean, maybe their offense just laid an egg that night. Who knows what happened? But that's the one black mark on that schedule that leads me to believe, we're gonna have to wait to see them get in the league. Jesus, Aaron, we're 20 minutes in, and we haven't talked about the best team in the Valley and one of the best leagues in the country, the Mission League opener tonight, Bishop Amat.
I'm not sure about the best league in the country thing.
I said one of the best leagues in the country.
But I'm not even sure about that because there's Bishop Amat and there's everyone else. Yeah. And,
the Mission League.
If the league had more depth, I might buy it, but,
Yeah, it's been argued.
Amat lays over this league, Fred. I'm sorry.
But this year,
I heard you last night on the radio. We talked about it during the 2-minute drills. Who the hell can stay within 3 TDs of these guys in that league?
Well, I think you're going to. I think Alamany and Sarah maybe. I think those are the games you're going to have to wait and see. And I think I don't know. Go on to CalPrep, see if you have the other scores or final scores from some of those games. But
Loyola lost.
Here we go. Bishop Amat beat Notre Dame 56-7, and what's significant about it, Steve, is how easily they did it. Look, I know Notre Dame was 1-3, but if you look at some of their games, they had played some good teams really close, and Amat just goes in there and hammers them. And one of the things I was tweeting tonight, Aaron, is they hammered them the way a St. John Bosco would hammer Notre Dame. They hammered them the way a Corona Centennial would hammer. I mean, they basically beat them the way those teams handled the Mission League, which bodes well if you're a Bishop Amat believer and you think we can play with those teams in about 6 or 7 weeks. These are the kind of games they need to show that they can do something like that. Now they're starting to get healthy. They got one of their big offensive linemen back tonight, Matt Brayton. Good. Sydney set on another game, but I talked to Trevon. He's probably going to be back next week when they play Crespi. That's another game they'll probably get a victory in before they have to go on the road, but. This is what you expect from a team that you think is the league favorite, is going to be a contender.
All right.
What were those other scores? Mikey's got them.
Yeah, 18-0 Alamany beats Crespi. Crespi's in a little bit of trouble. I mean, don't tell our boy James that, but Crespi was a team that beat Amat last year, finished in a 3-way tie for them for the league title.
And the way
that ain't happening.
And the way Crespi was, who did Crespi lose to? Was
Centennial.
Centennial, and they got absolutely hammered.
Yeah.
So I thought,
or was it Bosco? Huh. Let me see.
Yeah,
I'll tell you right now. It was one of the two.
But I thought Alamany would have.
Bosco, I think.
Yeah, I thought Alamany would have handled them a little easier. And what was the Loyola? Did Loyola lose?
It was Bosco that beat them 55-7 last week.
55-7. Okay. Did Loyola lose?
Loyola lost to Sarah 35-17.
Jesus, I was on my radio show last night, and I said the 3 teams, and they were kind of taken aback that I didn't include Loyola. I said it's going to be Bishop Amat, Sarah, and Alamany. Those are going to be.
I saw Amat play Loyola last year. I knew exactly these guys that Loyola has coming back. Bryant, Long, who I think are. Long as a Pasadena kid, believe it or not. You probably do believe it.
Look, at Bishop Amat isn't going to play. You're right.
Loyola's very overrated. So was Notre Dame. I don't think Notre Dame was overrated at all. I don't think Notre Dame was rated at all.
Yeah.
I think Amat played the worst team in the league probably.
And I think Amat's going to get Alamany. That game is going to be at home, right? That's the one game. That's the one biggie that they have at home.
That's going to look big on paper, I guess, but
really?
Again, I don't think Alamany can stay with Amat. I'm not buying it. I mean, look at Alamany's non-league, Freddie. I got it here. Garfield, Colony, Downey, and Dorsey.
Terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
Granted, they're all blowout wins, but
they did what they're supposed to do, and they shut out Crespi tonight.
Yeah, and they shut out Crespi tonight. Amat lays over. Again, we talk about the Pac-5. Centennial, Mater Dei, St. John Bosco, Bishop Amat, Long Beach Poly. I don't know what to tell you after that.
Yeah. I mean,
what the gap is between Bosco and Centennial.
The game Bishop Aulat played Modern Day.
The
team they played, playing Modern Day at the beginning of the year, they're not going to face anyone like that in the Mission the rest of the way. They've played the best team that they're going to play.
It's funny you bring that up because I was looking at Bosco and Modern Day at their league, the Trinity League. Modern Day, power ratings wise, has the higher power rating than St. John Bosco. And then I started looking at it. St. John Bosco hasn't played anyone.
You're right.
They played Juan Morata.
When I was talking on the radio last night, I was doing a lot of comparative scoring, and I noticed that St. John Bosco, although they've blown everybody out, they haven't played anybody significant. So you really don't know yet. You really don't know.
What's to say Amat couldn't play with those guys? We saw.
Who said they can't? We said they couldn't after.
I don't know. I started thinking that way.
Yeah, after the first couple of weeks when you saw what they were doing. And what they were doing to Mission League teams, you're kind of like, God, these guys are on a ridiculously another level. But look at what Amat did to Notre Dame. Notre Dame isn't Chino Hills still. They're not even Colony. Yeah. This is a much better team than that.
Yeah,
and they handle them. And they handle them easy.
Look, here's my question that comes out of this game tonight, and I'll just ask it to you right now. How many TDs did Toriano Sweet have tonight?
I don't know. I wasn't at the game.
Well, we might need Mike the Cousin to text one of us how many touchdowns Toriano Sweet had tonight.
Mike the Cousin answers.
Because he had a big night. And my question to you, and my question, I guess, to everybody, and you might want to pose this on the blog, if you want to have a conversation, is that kid the Tribune Player of the Year right now? I mean, after 4 games, is he the front runner?
Well, he's missed a couple games, but it's...
Look at the games that he's played.
The games that he's played have been unbelievable.
Look at the games that he's played. He's the best player on the field for Amat against Modern Day, and one of the best players on the field overall. But he gets suspended and then he comes back.
I will say that, and you have to look at that. Vaughns has had a spectacular season today too.
Yes,
I mean I think it's really the two of those guys.
Why don't you look at into getting Mike the Cousin to tell you, because I know he had multiple touchdowns tonight. I don't know. What do you think?
I would put him up there right now.
So he's in the top 3.
Yeah, he's definitely in the top 3. I mean, based on what he's done when he's given the opportunity to play.
Yeah, the opportunity to play. It's a good thing he's playing.
Oh no, Freddie's.
We got Mike the Cousin. Let's see. We put it right here.
Freddie's desperate dialing again.
Mike the Cousin.
Mike the Cousin answers.
Mike the Cousin will answer.
What's up, Fred?
There he is. See, Adam said, "What are the chances Mike the Cousin answers the phone on Prep Extra Live?" I said 99.9%. Boom.
Mike the Cousin.
Are you still there, Mike?
Leave Steve alone. He looks good and green.
Yeah, really. Mike the Cousin, answer the question. How many TDs for Sweet tonight?
Sweet had 4 touchdowns tonight.
How do you look, Mike?
I would say all 4 of them were rushing. He actually made, he had another 50-plus yards in receiving as well. But he was impressive. Notre Dame had no answer for him. I mean, they couldn't stop him. They couldn't tackle him. One thing, he didn't finish a couple of runs. And what I mean by that is, he got chased from behind a couple times, and then he run it in on the next play. But I mean, he broke one for 50 yards, and he had another one for 68 yards.
Mike the Cousin.
248 yards total.
That's Mike's seen a lot of time. Who's your player of the year from Amat? Is it Vaughns or is it Toriano?
Tyler Vaughn. And then Tyler Vaughn.
I'm telling you.
Tyler Vaughn may have had the highlight play of the year. You got to go to Amat Sports Twitter.
Yeah.
And go and find. He made an unbelievably difficult diving, sprawling catch in the end zone. Tyler Vaughn did. Yeah, I mean, he's right there, too.
So, Mike the Cousin, you've been to a lot of Amat games this year. You've been to some other big games this year as well. If we're talking Tribune, early talk for Tribune Player of the Year, is it Sweet or is it Vaughns? Are they tied? Is there someone else out there? Look, you're not going to get banned from Amat. Just answer the question.
Sweet, it's him missing, 6 quarters. If you're asking me, then I would say Vaughn's right now because he's been there every day.
Right, he's been there every day, but Sweet has missed 6 quarters. But of the quarters that he's played, I don't know anybody that's done better for the actual time that he played.
Yeah, here's
And today he made a statement too.
Yeah.
Made a statement last week.
Yeah.
Did he score 5 touchdowns
He has
last week?
in the first half.
In the first,
Before they took him out. Yeah.
What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, but I think this question will sort itself out the rest of the way as we finish the Mission League and get in the playoffs. Those questions kind of answer themselves. But yeah, Aaron hasn't seen Almont this year, and I think Mike is
Yes,
right.
I have.
Vaughn's had you watch him on TV.
I watch him on the internet and I watch him on TV.
Spectacular too.
That's my
both
life
of them.
these days.
But Toriano Sweet, yeah, he's the best running back in the Valley. I'll tell you that without a doubt. You were talking about Nevins, Saltos. There's nobody better than Sweet.
Catch up with Almont, Fred, on the road where no one can tell me where to park, where no one can tell me where I can stand. You understand what I'm saying? I'll catch up with them. I'll watch them, on the road. That'll be good. They got some good road games coming up. I'd like to go see it. But yeah, okay. So thank you, Mike the cousin.
Thanks, Mike. Have a good night.
Guys.
All right,
You man.
Bye. Yeah.
Okay, so Bishop Amat off to a 1-0 start in the Mission League, and we're hoping here as SGV homers that they're 9-1 going into the playoffs, and they get one of those good top 4 seeds, and these big juggernaut games aren't until semifinals.
Yeah. Although that 4-5 game could be pretty good, even if you're a 4 seed in the second round.
Yeah, you're right. Okay,
that could be modern day Almont rematch, the second round, the way things are looking.
Right. Another league, that started tonight, the Mission Valley League. These games were all pretty much blowouts that went the way you thought they would.
Yeah.
Arroyo rolled, El Monte rolled, Rosemead rolled.
Right.
This is kind of what you thought would happen. Next week we'll find out more about the Mission Valley
This was kind
League.
of set up perfectly for the league, and the 3 favorites played the 3 teams that are going to finish at the bottom, and they got their wins. They got their wins pretty easily.
Right.
I think Arroyo right now is for me is the team to beat in that division.
We'll see what happens when they play El Monte next week. Another league that started tonight, Pacific League. Freddie, you got the finals there. I saw Muir was down 35-9 to Burroughs.
Well, it was 49-9 was the final Burroughs. And
I don't know if it's going to happen for Muir.
Pasadena 37-0 over Hoover.
Okay, so,
I'm telling you, this is the year the Turkey Tussle goes to PHS.
Okay. Well, we'll see you out there.
Last year might be the year.
No, this is the year.
Here's the thing that I want to bring up. Arcadia won big last night. Pasadena won big tonight over to Glendale Schools.
Yeah.
They play next week. They'll both be 1-0. These are 2 teams that are hungry to get into the playoffs in that Pacific League. I think that'll be the game that I'm at next week. Arcadia hosting PHS. Both 1-0 in league with a chance to go to 2-0. That'll be good to see. If those teams can get some momentum and maybe get a playoff spot, that'll be good for them. I don't know where the hell they're going to go, though, in the Southeast Division, even though Crescenta Valley, the team that won that league last year, won the division and looks good again, because that's where La Mirada and St. Francis plays.
You're talking about playoffs. I'm wondering if any of our area teams are going to get in the playoffs from
what, the Pacific?
In the Pacific League. I mean, Crescenta Valley, Burbank, those are the first 2 spots.
I'm hoping it's Arcadia or PHS. Whoever wins next Friday has an inside track.
Probably only one of them is getting in the playoffs.
If that.
If it's going to happen.
And the reason why I don't think anything's going to really happen for them in the playoffs is because I think La Mirada and St. Francis lay over it. Yes, the same La Mirada team that let everyone down that Fred thinks would now lose to Charter Oak.
I didn't say lose. I said it would be a competitive game now.
All right. Well, I think any rematch would be competitive.
Not from what I saw tonight.
Okay, so you saw La Mirada tonight, Stevie, and you saw them fire a good shot against Norwalk.
Yeah, it was 52-7, and it wasn't really that close. I mean, because the first half they led 31-0. The total yards were 276 to 23 for Norwalk, which only had 1 first down the entire first half.
Who dropped 77 on them again?
St. John Bosco.
St. John Bosco. Jesus.
And then Mater Dei dropped.
Well, there you go. You said St. John Bosco. Who have they played? Well, La Mirada. Isn't that a pretty good answer?
Yeah, I mean...
What?
Well, I just wish they'd have played other...
There's no one like St. John Bosco.
Is Bishop Amat going to beat La Mirada 77-7?
No, but they beat them like Mater Dei beat them. I'll tell you that much.
42-7.
That's the problem.
So that's a wrap now for the Suburban League, right? I mean, because seriously, they're going to win this league.
Start getting ready for the playoffs now.
Yeah, seriously.
Coach Machete's not going to say that.
He's not, but who's going to beat them? Artesia.
Oh, definitely not Artesia.
Hey, San Marino, 49-0 over 49-6 over Beverly Hills.
I saw Coach Hobby.
I'd like to have been in the stands for that game.
Coach Hobby was at the Pasadena Quarterbacks Club, and he was talking.
Yeah, I saw that. You had a heck of a Pasadena QB club today.
Yeah.
You had the PCC coach. You had John Jackson, Amada, an SC alum, and you had Coach Hobby.
Yeah.
And Coach Hobby starts talking about the media.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Well, what was he saying? Something about concussions and don't let the media screw us, or.
That's been his big thing the last that I know of, the last 2 or 3 years. You know, based on the HBO Real Sports special, he kind of sees that type of media against football.
Right, he's right.
Yeah, he is.
I actually agree with him 100%.
He is right. But the one thing he said about.
But we are not that type of media.
No.
Because there are some of us in the media that feel like the bad rap football's getting is crap, and that guys like Gumbel have these agendas that they go on. Boy, you'll like this, Freddie. Gumbel goes on, Brian Gumbel, the host of Real Sports, he had one where he's talking about how heading the ball in girls' soccer is dangerous because it leads to concussions and all these kinds of things. I'm like, dude, now he's turning his attention on what? Now girls' soccer should ban headers?
Come on, Aaron.
I mean, is that what we're hearing?
Come on.
It's ridiculous. So, Coach Hobby, not an Aram fan by any stretch of the imagination, but I agree with you, Coach Hobby. Yeah. The media, that does all this. We've even covered guys that are, like Carl Holmes that has a concussion thing. I'm sad that happened to him. I'm sad to any player that has any kind of brain disease or concussion problem and has to stop playing. But these are the risks when you play football. It's a dangerous sport. You might break your knee. You might break your head. It's one of these things.
Well, the thing that gets me is, how many men have played professional football over 100 years,
right?
And there's a handful of guys who have had this problem. It could be just their own personality.
I'm not going to speak on something that I have little knowledge of.
No,
when it comes to.
That's.
I'm sorry.
There's probably a lot.
There
of
is definitely,
even know
Freddie, a war on football. To use like a Fox News term.
Yeah.
There's a war on football, and I agree with Coach Hobby. So you saw Coach Hobby today at the San Marino QB Club.
He said something today, maybe because I don't know if he saw me there or not, but someone asked him about his opponent tonight, Beverly Hills, and he said, if we don't win that game, we're practicing tomorrow. So normally a coach wouldn't say something like that.
I don't like that quote before the game that I tweet out.
Yeah, Beverly Hills stinks.
Yeah.
All right, Aaron.
No, so there you have it. San Marino keeps rolling. Stevie, like we said, the La Mirada win tonight wraps up the Suburban League. We're sorry to jinx you so bad, Coach Machete. But what are we going to say?
I could give you another. I could give you another team that's already won their league and they haven't even played a game yet.
Okay, so far we have Bishop Vermont winning their league, La Mirada winning their league.
I'll give you an even bigger slam dunk.
Wait, hold on. Can I guess? Can I get 2 seconds to guess here?
Yeah, you probably won't guess it, but it's a bigger slam dunk.
Auburn?
No, well, here, come on.
I give up.
Baldwin Park.
Oh,
they're gonna roll through the Montview League after another 21-6 over. Well, who's gonna touch him in the Montview League?
Well, not Azusa.
Huh? That Montview is so down that Baldwin Park's gonna win every one of those games.
Hey, good for them though. It was Sierra Vista, maybe their rival. I don't know.
All Baldwin Park fans give me
Tommy's Workmanton.
A lot of Baldwin Park players, fans give me a hard time on Twitter because I couldn't believe that they beat Covina.
I couldn't believe it either. That was a stunner.
And they're out to show me that you know what you're talking about. And I said, well, you've already played your tough games. Look what you have left. Walnut in the Montview League. You're going to go undefeated. There.
That's a good. I hope they do. That'd be great for them and our boy Paco Perez.
Yeah.
The offensive lineman. All right. Well, I think that probably wraps it up for us. We'll get into
best and worst
surprise, biggest disappointments.
This all might have come at my same game. I think my biggest disappointment, and God, I don't want to call him my biggest disappointment because he's one of my favorite players in the Valley, and I've seen him have so many great games. And we're talking about Matt Fink, but tonight him and that offense was my biggest disappointment because I expected so much more out of them. And look, I expect them to rebound. I expect them to get better from this. But a big game like this for the Mayor's Trophy, I just thought I would see more from that offense, and that was extremely disappointing. Biggest surprise, Aram, has to be in the same game because for me, I had no idea Charter Oak was going to rout Glendora the way they did. I mean, to go into the fourth quarter with a chance to put a running clock on the number one team in the Central is really all you need to say about how surprising that was. Good for Lou Farrar and that coaching staff. And yeah, to me, they're the favorite right now in a division where we just went over it. There's maybe 8 or 9 teams, maybe even 10, that can contend for that right now.
All right. My biggest disappointment, I agree with you, Glendora losing the way they did, 28-7, only mustering, 7 kind of garbage time points and just not being able to get anything going on offense. That's really disappointing. My biggest surprise would be Monrovia. You could say their win tonight. That shouldn't really surprise you. Maybe the win doesn't per se, but holding Los Altos to 14 points, to see the Wildcats play that kind of defense after, giving up a boatload of points to Arcadia, that's a big surprise. Monrovia, a good surprise there for them.
Yeah.
And Los Altos better get back to work now, man, because that's 2 straight losses.
My biggest surprise happened last night on Thursday.
Ooh.
La Habra just dominating Colony.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
I thought La Habra would win the game, but on the Colony team, and I know they're a different team this year they were last year, but what I saw last year and how they dominated Los Altos, I thought it would be a competitive game, but it seems like it wasn't.
Yeah, Colony should have.
Colony should have by halftime.
Colony should have probably tried to play the schedule last year, not this year.
Yeah.
Well, you're right. Actually.
I thought your biggest surprise might be Stevie walking in on the PrepXtra set in that green shirt tonight.
Okay.
Well,
would that fall under your biggest surprise?
You're not a Notre Dame fan. I know you're a devout Catholic, but you're not a Notre Dame fan.
They're my number 2.
Yeah,
are you really?
You'd have to be.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, they must be a distant 2 because I've never heard you anything positive about ND. Really?
The Bruins going to win tomorrow night, Steve?
I think they're going to shock the world and win tomorrow.
How is it shocking the world? They're a 3-point favorite.
I was listening on Sirius.
Miles Jack.
I was listening on Sirius all day, and everyone was picking.
Yeah, everyone's starting to say UCLA on defense. They've lost everybody.
My biggest disappointment is Montebello losing 58-21 to Paraclete.
Say what?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, I just thought the way they had been playing, I didn't realize that. At least they would be competitive.
I hadn't seen that score, Stevie.
Yeah.
Wow. I thought you might draw back into Thursday and say something about Pioneer being 5-0.
Yeah. Mikey just texted.
No, the way they have been playing, I'm not surprised that they're 5-0 based on
awesome.
That's
and they're blowing teams out.
Yeah.
Good for you, Pioneer. Run it up on everyone you play. We know that you've got it run up on yourself. You got to be enjoying turning the tables. I hope you kick everyone's butt that you can.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how many more butts you're going to kick once the Del Rio starts.
Yeah, they're off next week, and then they start against Cal. That's going to be an intriguing game to see.
Yeah.
If they're ready to challenge in that league.
And here it is, Mike the Cousin just tweeted me the stats because we got into this player.
Here we go. See.
Sweet tonight. 248 yards rushing with 4 touchdowns and another 50-plus receiving.
Wow.
The only team that could stop Bishop Amat is the Bishop Amat coaching team if he doesn't play the rest of the year.
In Mission League.
If he's suspended.
If he's suspended again. Let that guy play.
Right.
What has he done? Goodness sakes.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious sakes alive. Let that guy play.
That's another reason why you might want to consider him as the front runner, because even going back to last year, when they have him in there and he's doing his thing at running back, they're unbelievable.
Yeah.
When they have him in there, it's like Emmitt Smith to the Cowboys offense in the 90s. It is exactly like that.
It's the triplets. And anytime you can have those triplets, that makes you so tough to stop.
I don't know what
because you can't lean one way or another, and it just makes it better for each.
And he sets up the pass.
And I'll close on this when it comes to the
Can I say something?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think Sweet may have more touchdowns than quarters played this year.
Yeah, you're right.
What does that tell you?
Yeah. 9 in the last 2 games.
And
that's without playing virtually the second half last week.
2 in the Mater Dei game, or 1, or is it 2?
2 in the Mater Dei game. I think he had their 2 touchdowns.
He has how many for the year now?
But
so that's 2 plus 5 plus 4 is 11.
Okay.
But
there's more, I think, but
But I'll say this about Toriano Sweet and why I'm glad to see what he's doing. When he was out for a couple of those games, and look, I'll preface this by saying I've talked to him now, a couple of times. I've met his parents, during the baseball season. Super, super great people. I mean, they come all the way down here. They're deep in the Inland Empire. They bring him to school. They make a lot of sacrifices to get Toriano there.
And Tyler, younger brother.
Yeah, and
he's a good player too.
And missing those couple of games. I mean, this is a kid who also is, he's looking for that scholarship out there. He's looking at, there our D1 schools are starting to feel him out.
They should.
And good for him. I think he's going to really start getting his due, and I think those offers are going to start coming in now.
Right.
And, that's all you really wanted to see for the kid at the end of the day.
Right.
I mean, you see parents and everyone to make these sacrifices to drive their kids, 30, 40 miles to school and what you have to pay to go to a private school and the work you got to put in. And to see it start to pay off right here for him to get that second chance or this third chance really to show what he's worth and maybe get that scholarship. These guys are his best friends in that team. You think of Sidney Vaughns, they're going to SC. You've got another guy, Brayton, going to UNLV, and all of these guys.
Gaston's going to be going somewhere.
Yeah, he's got. I think it was Idaho. He got an offer.
We'll get William Kelly an offer pretty
they're gonna
soon
start
in Austin.
rolling in for Sweet.
Yeah.
And this is what it's all about. This is why these guys need to play. High school football is different than basketball or any other sport because they watch you play high school football. You're not getting recruited in summer basketball leagues, Steve. You're not getting recruited in baseball club leagues or soccer.
That's right.
But football, you've got to play football.
I know, but the thing about high school football is for a high percentage of guys after the last game in their senior year, that's it for football.
Yeah.
They're not going to play the game.
Yeah.
So if they can get the opportunity to play as much as they can in high school, that's important. I think.
And I just think I'm glad that they worked it out and he's playing and that's as much on a coaching staff and it is a player for the two to work things out. I think they have to work that out together. You have to recognize how important this is for the player, and the player's got to recognize his role in the team and those things that he has to do to keep himself there. So glad that's worked out for Bishop Amat. If you're a fan, you better be glad it's worked out. For the rest of that team, you're glad it's worked out because you're starting to see right now what we thought this team could become. They're getting people healthy now. Mm-hmm. They're going to get Sidney back next week. You're starting to see, what this team might be capable of, and it's going to be fun to watch, Aaron. It's going to be fun to watch because after this year, it may be another 20 years for you to see something like this at Almont. You don't know.
The Servite game, when Sweet was out and they had the JV kid or the junior kid or Barrera who played a nice game, and I'm sure he's a good player in his own right. You see some Alma fans on the blog start in with the whole, we don't really need Sweet, we're just fine, we'll win no matter what, next man up, that kind of thing. You better drop that kind of thinking. You're going to need all your weapons. You're going to need a healthy Sidney. You're going to need an eligible Sweet. You're going to need a Tyler Vaughn. You're going to need Damian Garcia on his game. You're going to need all these guys cranking in order to hang and beat the elite of the Pac-5.
Yeah.
And I'll leave you with another thought. Is he the best running back in the Pac-5?
Well, that's hard to say. I mean, I haven't seen him, and I know there's some pretty darn good backs in the Pac-5.
Are there, though?
He's got to be there, Aram. I mean, you look at what
I know he does.
It's he has missed a couple of games, but he's got to be there just based on what he's done up to this point. I mean, the last 9 touchdowns the last 2 weeks, but there's other kids putting up good numbers too.
Taylor,
I still say him and Vaughn's have just been spectacular, and you got to give it to Damian Garcia too. Since he's taken over, he's run that offense and done a great job. So that offense is rolling, and the defense. Almont in the past year used to they'd win high-scoring games. Now you're watching the defense do what it's supposed to do. And it's all coming together, man.
And Trey Sidney comes back, they'll be even better. Okay, so that's it.
Tom Kish just said the modern-day kid is better. There you go, the running back.
Really? You think so?
Yeah. Well, that's Tom Kish.
I don't know. I think if you put Sweet in modern day's offense instead of that kid, Sweet does better than that kid.
Yeah, well, I'm not convinced that modern day is a better team than Bishop Amat.
It was a close game, and Almont made mistakes. But thing is that modern day was super young, Freddie, and they still are young. So you can't tell me that modern day is not going to be a better team in week 10 than they were in week 0.
Or in week
they have high upside, man.
Or in week 12 when They might meet.
Maybe they'll play again. That'd be great.
Mikey, Chris Gaston was offered tonight by UCLA. So there you go.
Did he commit or
committed on the spot? Wow.
So Chris Gaston.
Thank you, Mike, for the update.
Chris Gaston from Alma,
so look at this team, man. A UCLA, 2 USCs, UNLV, and they're going to keep coming in.
You think Gaston starts to get in the ear of Sidney and Vaughn's like, hey, maybe you should go to the school that actually beat SC like the last 2-3 years?
Well, one thing we've learned, Aram, is all these verbals right now, they don't mean anything until signing day.
If you're Sidney and Vaughn's, don't you want to go play with St. Josh St. Josh Bosco at QB for the next 2 years?
Well, that's what I say. All these are all non-binding verbal agreements.
Right.
Well, no, in February
signing day.
We'll see everybody in February, and then we'll talk about it. Didn't Simon tweet something out this week? Like, what does it all matter?
Yeah, he's so right because the minds get changed or they decommit and they open it back up. So we'll see. Anyways, congrats to Gaston. That's a great thing for him. His stock really just shot right up this season, and he's headed to UCLA, at least verbally. Anyways, get on the blogs, everybody. Big weekend of football in college coming up. SC, UCLA both have huge road games in the desert in Arizona. And then naturally, the NFL's coming up. And, Freddie, and this is where you'll be all day tomorrow, Santa Anita opening day of their
film. That's exactly where I'm going to be, Aaron. Yeah.
All right, anyways.
Look for the big fella.
Yeah, well, no, I won't be out there either, but I'll have one eye on it at home.
The Dodgers' magic number is 2.
Yeah, that's right.